welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. Today we're going to go over weeks 21 and 22 of my pregnancy journey. And then before we get started, I'm going to show you a little update on how my bump looks like. Alright, so here's a little bump update. Excuse my closet, but the lighting is so bad over here. This is how it currently looks. It's a tiny little bump, but it's coming. Alright, so going over the highlights of baby. On week 21, the baby is the size of a carrot. She's 10.5 inches and weighs 12 3/4 ounces. Your practitioner measures your fundal height, the distance from your pubic bone to the top of your uterus. She did do that when I went to my anatomy scan a week afterwards when I went back in for a checkup, and I will go through all of that with you guys because so much has happened in the span of 21 weeks. Like, it's been a little bit crazy and a little bit overwhelming, but I will touch base on that afterwards. And then there's also a little chunk for baby name inspiration, and the app that I am using is Baby Center. I think that's what it's called. Let me double check. Yeah, it's called Baby Center. I actually really love this app. It's very simple and very cute, and it just lets you know everything you need to know basically. And then it talks about avoiding stretch marks, and it says at least half of pregnant women get stretch marks, but the good news is they tend to fade within a year of delivery. I thankfully have not had any stretch marks so far. I think it's because I drink a lot of water every single day, so it keeps my skin elasticy. And then I've read that it has also to do with genetics. My mom never got stretch marks with any of us. She has 3 kids, and so I might be one of the very lucky ones that don't get stretch marks, but even if I do, it's totally fine because it's all part of being pregnant and being a mom, so I am totally fine with it. If I get stretch marks or if I don't get stretch marks or whatever happens to my body, I don't think I would really care, but we'll cross over that bridge when we get there. And then it talks about the baby, and it says, alive and kicking. You may soon feel like she's practicing martial arts as her initial fluttering movements turns into full-fledged kicks and nudges. You may also discover a pattern to her activity as you get to know her better. And then it also talks about the baby's eyebrows have grown in, and then behind her eyelids, her irises still lack pigment. It also talks about varicose veins. I don't have any of that either. I'm not entirely sure what that is. And then it also talks about spider veins. I don't have that either, so I've been pretty lucky so far. Let's go over weeks 22. So on weeks 22, the baby is 11 inches and weighs 15 ounces. Hair is growing on the baby. Skip ice skating, bumper cars, seaweed wraps, and rock concerts, and then skipping changing the litter box. And then it talks about the baby can hear faint sounds inside your body, such as your breathing, your heartbeat, and your digestion. And then the sounds will grow louder as your baby's hearing improves. And then she's also growing fine hair, lanugo, that covers her body and the deep wrinkles on her skin, which will until she adds a padding of fat to fill them in. That's basically everything that happens with the body at 21 to 22 weeks, and also the baby updates. Now I'll just go over everything that's been going on between weeks 21 to 22. At the start of weeks 21, it literally felt like everything just went completely downhill. I was doing so well between 19 and 20, if I remember correctly. And then once 21 hit, I was like, oh man, what is going on? But basically, I was just having light cramps and really bad round ligament pain. So the sides of your belly, that started hurting a lot. And then everything just started to feel so heavy. Like, it was a very heavy sensation that I've never felt before. And I guess it was because the baby has grown so much and my body just wasn't used to all that weight. And so my belly felt super heavy, and it was just cramping and hurting and just not comfortable at all. At the beginning of 21 weeks, I started getting that yellowy discharge again. So I was like, great. Do I still have bacterial vaginosis? So I called my doctor, and then they did another swab when I went back in for a checkup. So they sent that off to make sure it had cleared or not. But yeah, so they had to check for that again. When the results did come back in, it showed that I still had BV, so I had to go back on another round of antibiotics, and then they gave me 2 days worth of yeast infection medicine just in case the flagell gave me a yeast infection. So I had to finish 7 days of that and then 2 days of the yeast infection medication they gave me. So hopefully this round completely clears it up, but they did say if I still have any type of tingling, then I should just give them a call and then I would have to go back in and get checked again. I also started peeing a lot, like just needing to pee all the time, but like when I would go to the restroom, not much would come out. So drinking a lot of that water definitely made it feel a little bit more comfortable when I had to use the restroom, because since I was drinking so much water, I would actually have pee come out. But if I would stop drinking the water all day, I would still have the sensation that I needed to pee, and it was just so uncomfortable because I know I don't have a UTI. I already got tested for that. And then the BV was supposed to have cleared up, so I think it's just like all part of pregnancy and needing to pee a lot as you get closer and closer to the 3rd trimester and as you get bigger. I started having this little spasm near my belly button every time I got up. It was just kind of like a small little ting. And I called my doctor and told her about all the heaviness and the spasm and the peeing and stuff like that. And she said it was normal, but to just keep an eye on it, and if it became like extremely severe or if I started bleeding, then that would have been a problem. But she said that from the sounds of it, everything did sound normal, so it was okay, and it made me not worry as badly about it. So yeah, all that was normal. During the middle of 21 weeks, I had the worst heartburn I have ever experienced because I have never had heartburn in my entire life. So I woke up at 3 o'clock with my chest like on fire and in so much pain. I honestly thought I was having a heart attack. Like I thought right then and there I was just gonna die, and Chad was having his game night, so he still wasn't in bed yet. And then he actually coincidentally walked in right at 3 o'clock and I'm just sitting on the bed like clutching my chest like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. I think I'm dying. But then turns out it was heartburn. So I took some Tums and I just like kind of laid in bed, sitting up and trying to sleep that way. But y'all, that was one of the most painful things in the world. Like I did not know how heartburn felt until that night, and I got it so bad. It was awful. So with the whole BV thing, the doctor just said try to eat a lot more yogurt because BV is just a pH imbalance. And women who are pregnant are just super susceptible to it because of all the hormonal changes. So honestly, there is nothing you can really do to prevent it because it's literally your hormones causing this to happen. So now I am drinking my probiotic yogurt 3 times a day to try to help it to not come back, because at this point there's literally nothing I can do, and I don't want to keep going on antibiotics. So I am going to try to eat as much yogurt as I possibly can to hopefully balance that out and just make sure all the good bacteria is working inside me. When I went in for the checkup the week after my anatomy scan, we went through my anatomy results, and this was so stressful because at the anatomy scan, they didn't tell me anything was wrong. So I just left that scan thinking, oh my gosh, everything's perfect, everything's great, she's growing super healthily, nothing's wrong. And so I go in for my checkup, and the midwife was like, yeah, so we found a little calcium deposit in her heart, but it's nothing to be concerned about because it's so small. It's called EIF. I don't know the full name for it, but the short name is EIF. And then she was like, I wouldn't worry about it though, because that's the only thing that we saw, and all your blood work came back normal. Because typically with a calcium deposit, I think it just shows it's a marker for Down syndrome. And so she was like, don't worry about it though, because it's so small. And if it's just the one thing, it's typically an isolated incident and that it should go away by the next checkup. So I was like, okay. And then she said my baby was really small. Well, not really small, but I might be exaggerating, was small. So she was definitely on the smaller side. So she fell on the 18th percentile. And then she said anything under 10 percentile is to be concerned about, but because she was still at the 18th percentile, it was fine. And that as long as she kept growing steadily, up until the next ultrasound that we can check, then it's okay. She just might be a smaller baby. So that started worrying me as well, because like, what if she doesn't grow and my next ultrasound isn't for another 2 months? Like, how will I know between then what's going on? And then she measured my fundal height, which is when they put a piece of measuring tape on your pubic bone and then they measure up to see where your uterus is. Typically, it's supposed to match up with how far along you are, and mine was measuring a week behind, which she said was okay since the baby was measuring on the smaller side too. So ever since then, I've just been pressing down around that area, trying to feel it myself, and it hasn't been moving. So I'm just trying not to think about it until I go back in. I have another checkup at the end of January, so we'll see. Hopefully by that time, when she measures my fundal height, it'll be different, but I'm pretty sure I am doing it correctly. So the fact that I'm feeling that it's not moving is kind of concerning me, but I'm just trying not to worry about it. And then I'll have my growth scan in the end of February. So at that point, we'll really be able to see if the calcium deposit is still there and if she's growing, and hopefully she doesn't fall lower on the percentiles, because then that would be really bad. And then the doctor was like, if she doesn't grow and she stays really small, or if she like stops growing and like starts dropping, then we'll probably have to induce you at 37 weeks. So I was like, okay, that's great. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully when that time comes, I'll have good updates for you guys. That was all of 21 weeks. And then going into 22 weeks, the most exciting thing about 22 weeks is that Chad was actually able to feel the baby move. So now, like, he's been feeling her move basically every single day, and her kicks and punches are strong too. Like, I can feel her through his hand when he has his hand on my belly, and it is such a nice, and like, it fills me with so much love and happiness feeling her move in there and just knowing she's in there. But also in a way, it's a little bit creepy knowing that there is a human inside me that's just like wiggling around and bouncing about and stuff like that. But I'm more happy than creeped out. Sometimes I will also feel her like in my lower butt area. It's really weird. Like this one day she like kicked me in a really strange area. I don't know what it was, but I called the doctor about it and they said it was normal. But she kept kicking me. I think she was kicking a nerve or something, but she was kicking me and like it kept sending like this weird tingly feeling, like I guess near my bladder, but just like on the super low part of my uterus. And like, it was just so uncomfortable. And there was another time when she kicked me and it literally like zapped my butthole. It was the weirdest feeling in the world. Like, yeah, I don't even know. Like, it just felt so weird. And then the doctor said that was normal as well. So I was just like, okay, I guess all of this weird stuff is normal. But yeah, I do feel that she kind of moves positions, because sometimes she'll kick like really, really down low. And then sometimes I'll feel her like kick near my belly button. And sometimes I'll feel her kind of like roll around in there too, so it like kind of causes like a wavy sensation. It's really, really cool, like feeling it. And it's just so hard to explain. Like, I don't really know how to verbally put it in words, except say that it's just like really cool and creepy at the same time. The end of 22 weeks, all the exhaustion came back. Like, I don't know what happened, but there was I don't know if it was because working through the holiday, it was really, really busy at the doctor's office. And so I was just like on my feet for like so many hours of the day and just constantly running back and forth. But by the end of 22 weeks, I was just so exhausted that I would come home from work and like just knock out and just like fall asleep. And then I felt like I was like getting sick because I was just so tired and my nose was super congested and all of that. But like, yeah, I was just so tired. And then the nausea came back for a day or so. And I was just like, I thought this was over. Why is this randomly back? But yeah, I think I have some of my energy back. I'm still a little bit tired. That hasn't gone away, but the exhaustion is not as bad as it was at the end of 22 weeks. So yeah, that was basically everything though from 21 to 22 weeks. It's been a little bit hectic with everything that's just been happening with my body. So hopefully these next updates, there is better news. And then hopefully by February when I go for my growth scan, everything is normal, because that's still like in the back of my mind. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye.